Okay, so now a user can start a new game by clicking that button. They wait a few seconds before the green square appears on the screen, and as soon as it does, we want the user to click it as soon as they see it. So ultimately, we want to measure their reaction time. But what is that? Well, that's the time between the square first appearing on the screen and them clicking the square. So we need to measure that, and to do that we're going to be creating a timer using set interval, and that's going to count in milliseconds how long it takes for a user to click it from the square first appearing on the screen. So to do this we'll need to create two different methods inside our block component. One to start a timer when the green square first appears on the screen, and one to stop the timer. So let's do our methods property, and inside here do two different methods, start timer, and also after that we need another one called stop timer, and we'll stop the timer when a user clicks on the green square. So we want to call this as soon as the green square appears on the screen, and that happens right here after the delay. So at this point I want to start the timer, and to do that I need to say this to reference the component, then the method name, start timer, like so. Now how are we going to create this timer? Well, first of all I'm going to create two properties in our data. First the timer itself, and we're going to set that to null to begin with, and then the reaction time, and this is going to track the amount of time it takes for the user to click on the square. So this right here, this is going to store a set interval. Now that set interval is going to run every 10 milliseconds, and every 10 milliseconds we're going to increase this by 10 milliseconds. So the timer is running in 10 millisecond steps. So let's create that. First of all, we'll say this dot timer is equal to set interval, like so. And the reason, by the way, that I'm storing it inside some kind of data is so that when we come to stop the timer later on, we can clear that interval that we store. All right, so this is going to run a function, and that function is going to run every 10 milliseconds. All right, so this is going to increase by 10 milliseconds a time, and every 10 milliseconds what we want to do is take this dot reaction time and add 10 to it, so plus equals 10. That's all we're doing. So we're timing the reaction time in steps of 10 milliseconds. This is going to keep on increasing until we stop the timer. So then, when we do stop the timer, what we want to do is clear that interval. So we'll say clear interval, and we pass in this dot timer, this thing right here. And that's why we stored it, this dot timer. And when we clear the interval, this function is no longer going to fire. So reaction time is no longer going to increase. So that will be the end reaction timer. Now we want to call this when a user clicks on the green block. So let's do that up here. We'll say at click and set that equal to stop timer. So I hope all this makes sense. When the component first mounts, we wait for the delay time before the green block appears. Then when it does show, we start the timer, and that goes up in increments of 10 milliseconds, and we store that time in reaction time over here. We store the timer, the set interval, inside this variable. Then when a user clicks on the green square, maybe after 50 milliseconds or something like that, then we clear the interval, and so this will no longer keep going up, and it will just store their reaction time, what it was at the point of clicking. So we clear it, and we also should maybe log out their score to the console for now. Console.log, and we'll say this.reaction time. So let's try this out. I'm going to refresh over here, clear that and play, and wait for the green blob to appear. Click it, and we can see my reaction time was 360 milliseconds. Let me try that again just so you can see it's different. And now I get 480 milliseconds. All right. So now we're tracking their reaction time. The next thing we need to do is figure out how to tell the parent component over here that we have that reaction time, they've clicked it, and how to send that data, that reaction time, back up into the parent component, because we're going to work with it inside this component, and we'll see how to do that in the next lesson.